Okay, so I'm gonna add one more thing to this one. I'm gonna go into my layers. And right here I have a frozen layer. And I'm gonna freeze it. Oops. There it goes. Okay, and if I select this one and go to the properties, this one is at 706, right there, 706. So it's another 2 feet up. I want to add this contour as well. So what do? I go to contours once again, say add, and I can, I'll say C2 for contour 2, doesn't need a name. I'll say okay, I'll select this contour, enter, and I've added another contour. Okay, so you can build things up. So if you're designing a golf course, this is how you could easily do
I'll
that.
select this line here after what I should do.
Say again?
I select this area after what I'm supposed to do. As in you can.
Okay, I'll do it again.
Yeah.
Okay, so here it is. There's my contour line. I'm gonna go to contours, right click, say add. I'll call it C2 because I did C1. And now I'm gonna go OK. And now it says select the contour. I'll select this and then hit enter. Okay, when I look at this one here, and I'll do viewer. Okay, see the problem here? Right here, there's a line, and this whole part is flat. Okay, so I've got a big flat. I want it to be, a hill over here. And over here, I have another line. Whenever you have these lines coming across, that produces a flat. So let's fix those again. It's not looking to fix. I'll hit escape. So this one over here is rather easy to fix, right? We'll do it exactly the same way as the last time. This little flat area right there. I'll just select this, go to edit surface, pick line. I'll just bring a line from here right to this point here, and I'll do another one from here to there, and then I'll just go edit surface and go swap edge, and just do a little swap over here, and then this one here is fixed the same way as the other one. Okay, so that one's fixed. Now this one here, this is a long flat area. So how can we fix this one? Well, this one will take a little more. I'll say edit surface. This time I'm going to say add a point. So this one here is 706 and this is 705. So I'm going to turn off my snaps for one. And I'm going to add a point right in between, what looks to be in between. And what should I make this elevation? 705, right? Because this is 706 at this end, this is 704. So I put a point right in the middle at 705. So I'm going to make another point over here, halfway between these two. And what should I make the elevation of this one? 705.5? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, and then over here, I'm going to put one more in between this one and this one. And this one I'll make
74.5.
704.5. Okay, so now I've got these points. I'll hit escape. Okay, now it's getting closer. I'm gonna go to edit surface. I'm gonna say add a line. Now I'm gonna add a line from here to this point, to this point, to this point, and then from this point down to here. And then from here I can do sort of same idea, this points radius. Okay, and then after this point I can just do some swapping, right? Any of these triangles. Okay, so okay, so now what I've done again, so you can see what's going on here. I had this long flat area, so now it's over here. Long flat area. I've added 3 points, which ended up making a ridge, and then I radiated the last one. Okay, so again, this is the tools you can play with surfaces which you're going to be using for the whole semester. Okay, we want to take a look at this. We can take a quick peek. I'll get on to the next one. Okay, so there it is. So you got it's sort of a sharp ridge here, but at least you got to go in the right direction. Okay, one more example, then we're gonna, okay. This one is, really good. This one's called composite surface. Okay, so here I've got no points, but I've got some drawing with sites on it. Okay, so, but I've got, these are all feature lines. Okay, so while the first one we did with all points and we adjusted it with a feature line, last one we did with contour lines, made a surface. This one, we're gonna make the surface, we're gonna make a subdivision with feature lines only. So again, a feature line, you can make a feature line by just drawing any line, like a polyline, and then you can add points with elevation. So you can make a three-dimensional line, and then you can add it to a surface and do it here. Okay, so this could be easily made. So first thing I'm gonna do here is make a new surface, and I'll call this surface subdivision. Okay, I'll just say subdivision. And I'll leave it on contours. In this case, we don't need triangles. Okay, so let's get to it. Okay, this will be fast, so again, pay attention. Okay, I'm going to select this center line of the road here, right click, and say select similar. So when I right click and select similar, it selects all the center lines, all the feature lines that have the same type. Okay, so again, I'll do it again. I selected this, and right click, say select similar. So I selected all the feature lines. Now I'm going to go to say add to surface as break line. Okay, so this is typically how you do it. So up on the ribbon right here it says add to surface as break line. We're not adding it to the channel, we're adding it to our subdivision. Hit OK, and I'll call it CL for the center line, and I'll change this to 0.1 as usual, and that's it. Yeah, hit OK. It says there's an error. I'm just going to check out what this error is. And right over here, you see it says zoom to. So I'm going to zoom to the error. I'll just turn this off and I'll zoom to it. So the problem here is, if you refresh the screen, I'll refresh it again. This is actually the center line. So this center line is not reaching this center line. So in Civil 3D, though you have a trim tool, you don't have an extend tool. Okay? So how are we gonna fix this problem? Okay, if you have this issue, we want this center line to meet this center line, so it can, otherwise the property is gonna have a gap, right? Because we're making a property or surface with just these lines. Okay, there's no extend line, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this grip, I'm gonna pull it so it stays right on line, and I'll click here. Now, I do have a trim tool, so I'll select this, and right over here, this is the feature line trim tool. So I'll pick trim, and it says, what's the cutting edge? This is the cutting edge. I'll hit enter, and then, trim, what's the cutting edge? And then I hit enter, and then I click that. Okay, so now it's done, and now if I right click and say, rebuild the surface, it rebuilds it, and there's no error. Okay, so if you have something that just doesn't work right, it'll give you an error, you can zoom right to the error, and you can fix it. Yeah, there's true.
Oh, you zoomed
True,
again?
when you pick the feature line.
There? Did you get there?
Yeah.
Scroll to the
trim
right. Scroll to the right of the thing. On the bottom of the bar. Yeah, yeah. And it's
If
a
you
zoom
pick a
tool.
feature line, the geometry box always comes up. And trim will check out. But don't do this one, I wanna get to it fast, so.
It's not working. I don't know.
Okay, so I've got a surface produced by those. You can see the surface by the contour lines. I'll just take a look at the surface quickly. So that's the surface we've made, which is sort of a nothing surface. Now let's do another one. I'm gonna go and select this feature line here, right click, and say select similar. So what I've done here is I selected all the feature lines that define the curves. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the top again, say add to the surface as a break line. I'm adding it to this surface, and I'll call it curve. And I'll just say okay.